WD18, the Watford fans channel, here for another match preview. This time the Golden Boys are back at Vicarage Road, and it's the big one. It's the big derby we've all been waiting for, the M1 derby, the Hearts Beds derby, whatever you want to call it. We are playing them lot from up the road, and yes, I'm not going to say their names. I don't care. This is a massive game. You know, I remember kind of growing up, I remember actually being the first ever cup game of Watford I actually went to see as a young guy was actually the game against Luton Town. 8 years old, at Vicarage Road. Very, very unsavoury, nasty scenes as well that evening from their lot. And the rivalry's kind of been ingrained in me kind of, you know, ever since, and it's been always kind of been there, you know, whilst we've kind of had a lot of success down the years. Those guys have kind of fallen back into conference. They've come back up again, and that's admirable to some extent. But now, all of a sudden, whilst we've been going up, they've been going down. They've come up and we've dropped down, and now we are now literally at and in the same division. Which I would honestly, if you asked me that maybe 3-4 seasons ago, I would have laughed at you. But this is where we are. I'm now recording a preview for a game against the big one, the big rivals that we have. The only rivals really that we have. We just haven't played them. And some would maybe call it a bit of a relapse kind of rivalry, but you know, I'm already pretty nervous, and you know that's not been helped by certain bits of team news and certain performances recently, which, let's be honest, whilst they've been okay, haven't really hit the heights that we were expecting. We'll kind of get onto that in a little bit more detail, of course. But just a bit of a recap first of all, though, in regards to our last match against Newport County on Tuesday night in the League Cup, a 3-1 defeat, and meaning, of course, Watford's exit from the competition. Not a very pretty game, a game that I wasn't really particularly bothered about. I think the only really noteworthy thing from that game was the suspension, red card for Stipe Perizza, which of course puts us in a bit of a conundrum for this weekend, given that certain players, for me, just didn't shine on Tuesday night. Glenn Murray looks massively off it. I don't know, it's early days right now, but a man who turns 37 tomorrow really just isn't cutting the mustard, and perhaps maybe people expected that. I don't know. I kind of looked at him as an okay signing. I wasn't particularly keen, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. Maybe that's coming back to roost now, who knows. And of course, there are other bits of injury and team news as well. The likes of Andre Gray still out as well. So gives us a bit of a problem, that. But I thought it was a good effort from the under-23s. They got a lot of valuable minutes and valuable experience playing. And ultimately, look, it can only serve them well moving forward with the rest of their campaign as well. So a good effort, but ultimately we fell short, and best of luck to Newport in the next round. And of course, last Saturday we took on Sheffield Wednesday in what was a pretty drab 0-0 draw. Not a lot there really to kind of dissect. The fact that we got a point, I think, was great. Sheffield Wednesday could well have won it. We could well have won it as well. A turgid game, in truth, and one that I'm not really going to spend too much time kind of talking about, really. A point's a point away from home. Looking ahead, though, to actual team news for Saturday, and of course the game has been moved to 12:30. Troy Deeney and Ismail Assar are expected to return, are expected to be involved in the squad. With Sarr, it's always a massive question mark really about him. I think this weekend is going to be quite telling. If he's in the squad, there's maybe a chance that he stays. If he's not, it looks less and less likely. For me, I'm absolutely overjoyed the fact that Troy's going to be back in the squad. I feel like we're actually going to need him. I feel like he can do a job for us. A seasoned veteran now. I think we can call Troy. Having been here for 10 years, you know, I think his experience will serve us really well on Saturday afternoon. And we're going to need it. Let's just be real about it. Other news as well: the likes of Andre Gray are still out injured. The likes of Danny Welbeck are still out injured. Daryl Yanmat and Isaac Success. But the big news, of course, yesterday with the team news was the fact that Zvelo Marajevic confirmation that Etienne Capoue and Roberto Pereira will not be part of Ivic's first team plans, which ultimately means that they're leaving. They've both handed in transfer requests and are both looking for a move away from Vicarage Road. A real shame, especially for Etienne Capoue, a player, for me, a landmark signing for us, I think, in our first season in the Premier League. Someone who maybe was a bit slow to get started in that first season, but look, you know, he's come up, he's turned up, he's done great for us. some great performances, of course, from the two of them combined. I kind of look at that Wolves away performance from a couple of seasons ago and how great we performed that day. Pereira as well, of course, scoring against Leicester City, that fantastic goal, this absolute cracking goal that he scored. He's put in some great performances as well for us, but ultimately, look, if they don't want to be here, it's best for us to move them on. Now, of course, the last time we played Luton Town was back in April 2006, a 1-1 draw at Vicarage Road, a goal courtesy of Marlon King. Other players, of course, that played that day included the likes of Gavin Mahon, Darius Henderson and Lloyd Doyley. Also worth pointing out here as well, Ben Foster as well, and he's been in the news in the last maybe about 24 hours or so. He's been telling a lot of the younger players and a lot of the newer players the rivalry and the historic significance as well, and why the game is so important. So shout out to Ben as well for that. That kind of leads me on a little bit to my thoughts on the game, and I think I should first of all start off by saying it was incredibly upsetting for me to wake up on Thursday morning and see the pictures of the Graham Taylor statue being boarded up. That was a pretty big indicator, not as if some of us out there really kind of needed it, as to the severity of this game and the potential threat of violence as well in and around the Watford area as well. And if you're a younger fan watching this, you're not aware of the significance of this rivalry, I would very much recommend you Google, or you put into YouTube, Watford versus Luton 2002. There's a very good Football Hooligans thing on there as well, which I've actually found within the last 24 hours or so. It shows a lot of the footage of that day, before the game, after the game. It's well worth a watch for me, because I'm just not sure, potentially, if younger fans maybe don't know the significance of the game and of Saturday. But for me, seeing that Graham Taylor statue being boarded up was a real kind of really brought it home to me as to who we were playing. Not as if we needed, as I say, any kind of reminder. It is a massive game on Saturday. I don't know how it's going to go. Luton are unbeaten in their first two games. God, I said their name. They are unbeaten in their first two games, and for them, they've got nothing to lose. They'll be coming to Vicarage Road with a lot of confidence, potentially trying to get themselves an upset. We have more to lose, and the bottom line is they know we've got more to lose. If they were to walk away from the Vic with a draw, they'd consider that to be job done. If they came and managed to shithouse or win, well, guess what? That's an even bigger job done. We have to be on it. We have to be attacking from the off. We have to almost get into them a little bit. We need to be physical, and that's kind of why I kind of look at Troy's return to the squad as a very much a good thing at the moment. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. I know a lot of people would rather he kind of moved on, but with the way in which things are going right now, and the fact that the players that we are trying to offload are not getting the offers, I'd very much prepare yourself for a return of Troy. He's not, of course, the only one. There are a lot of other players in that squad, but it's a big one. It's a big one as well, particularly if you're someone like Ismail Assad. Does he start? If he does start, does that mean he's staying? Does that mean that potentially we keep hold of him for a season? So many question marks still. But what isn't a question is the level of commitment I expect from the players on Saturday. Go out there, get stuck in, and whatever happens, and I mean whatever happens, make sure you win the game. It's just as simple as that. Win the game, make us all happy. And yeah, that's kind of it, really. If you like this video, don't forget to if you like this video, don't forget to like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. We've got a lot of content coming up. The game is still coming thick and fast. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.